So task 1 is going to ask us to remove the compatibility mode of this document. And let me explain that a little bit further. So this is something new to 2019 in these exams. You're going to notice in the in my top of my screen here, beside the file name, it says compatibility mode. What that means is someone is using, I might be working with someone who has an earlier version of Microsoft Word, like 2010 or earlier, and compatibility mode is going to lock some of the newer features of the 2019 version of Word so that we can work together really well. For example, if I go to the Insert tab, notice how the icons and the 3D models are no longer available. So icons are new with the 2016 version. The 3D models are new with the 2019 version, and those are disabled because I'm working with someone who has saved this file with an older version of Microsoft Word. So if you wanted access to those, you'd have to remove the compatibility mode, and you'd have to tell your friend to update to a newer version of Microsoft Word to get those special features. So to do that, I would go to the File tab, and then I'm going to click the Info tab, and you see this compatibility mode. I'm going to click the Convert icon, and it's going to ask me, are you sure you want to do this? And then it's going to be upgraded. And once I press OK, notice that those features now turn on. So if someone was working with an older version of Microsoft Word and it says compatibility mode when they send you the document, you have to have a discussion with them whether you want the new features or just keep working with an older version of Microsoft Word. Our second task is going to ask us to save a copy of this document as a plain text file as outline for proposal. So that's the new file name. So we're going to save that. We'll click on the File tab, and then we'll click Save As, just like we normally save a file. And then I'm going to click Browse. And in your exam, you'll probably be asked to save to your Documents folder. So I'll go there. And we want to rename this as Outline for Proposal. And then Save As type. So you can save this as a plain text file, which is not a rich text format, but a plain text. So plain text, that's the one. And then we'll save it in our Documents folder, and I'll click Save. So we've saved a copy of this, but it's just going to be like the text one. And this will come up. It'll just give you a little bit of a preview of what that's going to look like. It's probably not the best for this document, but that's how you do that. And you just say OK. Task 3 is going to ask us to convert all footnotes to endnotes. And at the bottom of page 3 here, I have footnotes. And what footnotes are is they're basically a reference on the very same page of your document. So I had a reference somewhere in this paragraph and a little note that goes with that reference at the bottom of the page. The endnotes are references somewhere in your document that are going to show up, sort of little notes that are going to show up at the very end of your document. So converting these footnotes to endnotes would mean these are going to go to the very end of the document instead of being at the end of this page. So to do that, to convert footnotes to endnotes, click on the References tab, and then this is one of those tasks that's going to get you searching through Microsoft Word. We have to click on this dialog box opener, so footnote and endnote dialog box opener, and then we're going to click Convert here, and then the only option we have is to convert all footnotes to endnotes. And when we press OK, you see that they've disappeared from this page, but they will reappear at the very end of our document. And that means we've done step 3 correctly. Task 4 is going to ask us to change the margins of the document by setting the top and bottom to 0.5 inches and the left and right to 0.25 inches. So that's in the Layout tab. And now we're going to click on the Margins drop arrow. And then we have to go to Custom Margins. And then when that pops up, this Page Setup dialog box, we can start making our changes here. Okay, so now that I've made those changes, I've got the top margin at 0.5 inches, the bottom one at 0.5, left and right at 0.25, and just make sure for your exam, if you had a question like this, that you apply it to the whole document if that's what it's asking for. So the whole document, and then press OK. So task 5 is going to ask us to check the document for accessibility issues, then correct the first issue that is being reported. So yeah, this is a great feature in Word because it sort of tells you where someone reading your document might find it challenging to read your document and that kind of thing. So to check for accessibility issues, go to the File tab and then go to the Info tab again, and then we're going to check for issues. These ones fall under the Check Accessibility. And we're just going to fix the first mistake here, although you should probably try and fix all of them if this was a real thing. And the error being reported is that it's missing alternative text. So you can just do it right here if you click the drop arrow. Now yours, for your exam, depending on which version you get, it might say, you know, you need to merge a cell in a table properly, or unmerge it, or fix the size of something, make it bigger. It just depends on what you get, but just whatever the suggestion is, just do it. So right here, it's actually taking me right to the alt text option, which is just add a description. And I'm just gonna quickly describe this table. So that's it. And then once I've done that, the first one goes away. So you'll probably just have one on your exam, and once you fix it, it'll just say all problems are fixed, and that's it. So task 6 is going to ask us to clear all the formatting from the paragraph that starts with these are just suggestions. So your 2019 Word exam will do this to you quite a lot. It won't tell you exactly where in the document it is. It won't say like page 3, middle paragraph. It'll just say, here's part of a paragraph, go look for it. So we're going to do that in this step. So in the Home tab, when you go to the Find, click Find, and then we'll just start typing that. You can even copy and paste if you want to. So just copy that beginning of the sentence. And your exam will do this quite often. This is something kind of new in these exams. So just something to look out for. Don't go wasting time just searching for it just blindly. Try to use the find command. Okay, and then we'll click on the magnifying glass, or just press enter, and it takes us right to it. So that's the nice thing. So just type in the navigation bar here, and then we'll just exit that, and then we can continue with our task. So this is going to happen quite often to you on your exam. You have to know how to use that find feature in Microsoft Word. Okay, so what they want us to do is highlight this and then remove the formatting, which is pretty straightforward after that once we find this. This is in the Home tab. There's like a icon of a little eraser that says clear all formatting, and we're going to just click that once, and you can see all the formatting disappeared. Step 7, we're going to locate the table in this document, and then we're going to set the spacing to 0.03. And that sounds like it's straightforward, but there's a lot to sort of navigate through to get to that point. So the first thing you have to do is click anywhere in the table, and then that'll activate this Table Design and Layout tab. It's the Layout tab we need. And then we also have to click in the Cell Size group. We're going to click on the Table Properties dialog box opener here. And in the Tables tab, we have to go down to Click Options, and then click this checkbox that says Allow Spacing Between Cells. And the default size is 0.01. We're going to change it to 0.03. And then press OK again. And now this is what our table will look like. And that's how we know we've completed step 7 correctly. So in task 8, we're going to change the table of contents. So you see here that the outline, Claudia's proposal, recommendations, these are all heading 1 headings, and these are heading 2 headings, and we don't really need these. So the way you would change that is to highlight the section for table of contents, and then in the references tab, click on the table of content drop arrow, and then go to custom table of contents, and then this little area right here where it says show levels, there's 3 levels that were possible. We're just going to click the arrow down twice to make sure that show levels 1 is displayed, and then we'll press OK, and then we should only see, yes, replace this table of documents. We're going to say yes, and now we only see the heading 1 headings here. So task 9 is the last task in this project, and to complete this task we're going to set the line spacing of the entire document to 1.4 lines. So if you get a task like this, to select the entire document, you would have to go to the top of the document and put your insertion point at the very top. And then I think the quickest way to select the entire document is to use the keyboard shortcut Control-A. So if I have my insertion point here and I select Control and A at the same time on my keyboard, the whole document gets selected. And now I can go to the second part where it's I'm going to change the line spacing to 1.4 lines. This can be a little bit tricky because this is in the paragraph settings dialog box launcher here, the paragraph dialog box, and the line spacing section is here. But as you can see, there's no option for 1.4, but there is an option to make a custom line spacing, and that's the multiple option. So if I click on that and then I change this to 1.4, That's how I would alter the document and complete this task. You might have to use something like this if you, let's say, if you wanted to make your resume, but and you wanted to make it 2 pages, but it was sort of going on to the 3rd page. The default line spacing is 1.08 lines. And so if you wanted to sort of cram everything onto those 2 pages, you could choose the line spacing multiple option and then just change it to like 0.8 or 0.9. And that's kind of a sneaky way to sort of cram everything on the same page and customize the line spacing. So that's how you would complete that kind of task. Now, if you had a similar task where you had to change the line spacing to, let's say, 15 points exactly, you would do exactly 15 points like that. Okay, so that's another line spacing task that you might have to face. But ours is multiple, and then we're going to change it to 1.4 lines. And we're going to press OK, and I'll show you what that looks like. So it's sort of like in between double space and single space. Single space being 1.08, double space being 2, and this is sort of in between, and it kind of looks like that from the spacing of our text. Alright, so we'll get started on project 2. This is the Himalayan Coffee House project, and the first task is going to ask us to display the retrospect header on all pages except the first page. So I'm on the first page right now, and we want to make sure that we insert a header on every page in this document except the first page. So the first thing I have to do is click on the Insert tab, and then click the header drop arrow in this header and footer group, and then search for the retrospect theme. So I'll double click on that, and it'll show the first time it appears on the second page, but now we have to scroll up and make sure that it's not on the first page, and it's not because this different first page checkbox is checked. So that means that the header is going to appear on every document or every page of the document except the first page. So if that wasn't checked on your exam, you have to make sure that you check off different first page, and then it won't show up on the first page. And now we can close our header and footer tab, and we can move on to the next task. So in task 2, we're going to insert a very unique symbol to the left of the part 1 schedules heading, and we're going to use the Webdings font and character code 166 to search for this. So I'll show you what that looks like. The first thing we're going to do is click the insertion point just to the left of this heading, and then you'll navigate your way to the Insert tab, and then from there go to the very right of the ribbon and click on this symbols drop arrow, and then we'll click on More Symbols, and then from here you'd have to scroll down the font gallery to Webdings. So I'll click on Webdings and then just type in the character code here, which is awesome because that way we don't have to kind of scroll through and try to find it. We can just type in the character code. So when I type in 166, you see this little agenda pop up or the first of the month symbol, and then I can just click Insert and then Close, and now we've got that very unique symbol to the left of our Part 1 schedules heading. In task 3, we're going to apply the soft round bevel shape effect to the SmartArt graphic. So there's 2 challenging things you need to be aware about if you face a task like this. The first one is make sure you select the actual SmartArt graphic and not one of the objects in the SmartArt graphic. I'll show you what that looks like. So if I select with my mouse somewhere at the top of this SmartArt graphic, and let's say I double click by accident, what I'm really doing is selecting only the speed object here. I'm not selecting the whole graphic. So what you have to do is make sure, if you're going to make some alterations to this, click on the outside box and make sure that just all of the shapes are selected, not just one of them. Okay, and that's the first challenging aspect of a task like this. The second one is finding the shape effect or the style. So if I go to the SmartArt Design tab, I could get this confused with some of the styles, which do add a little bit of a bevel effect, like the polish one here, or maybe the inset style, but these are SmartArt styles, so you have to be able to determine whether are they asking me for a style or a shape effect, right? So it's a little bit different. These shape effects are in the Format tab, and they're right here in the Shape Effects drop arrow, and they're asking for a very specific one, the bevel one. So I'll go down to the bevel menu, and then I have to choose one that's a soft round bevel, and that's this one here. So now when I click on that, I've added the soft round bevel shape effect to this SmartArt graphic. Our fourth task is going to ask us to change the text wrap of the image on the second page to the square text wrap. So to do that, we'll click on this picture on the second page here. That'll activate the picture format tab up here, and we'll click on that and then go to the wrap text drop arrow. And from here we can choose a bunch of text wraps, and we want the square one, so we'll click on that, and that's how you would complete that type of task. Task 5, we're going to insert a file property the coffee shops as a category. So you might get a few like this one on your exam depending on which version you get. And to do something like this, you would go to the File tab, and then we'll click on the Info tab here. And then you notice in the Properties section here that we don't see one for categories, which means you're most likely going to have to click the Show All Properties. And now we see the categories pop up, and we're going to type in coffee shops with a capital C and lowercase s for shops. And just be careful with this one. A lot of people will get this one wrong either in Gmetrics or the Certiport version of these exams just for pressing spacebar after this one. So just click outside of that and then just make sure the spelling is correct. And it is from what the spelling is in the task. And then we would just go back to the home page and go back. So now on to task 6. This is the largest task of this project, and it's the last task of this project. And if you had a task like this on your exam, this is probably weighted this would probably be the largest kind of task you'd have. There's a lot of steps involved. So let's get right into it. We're going to find the empty space at the bottom of page 2, and then we're going to insert a scroll horizontal shape that contains the text "thank you," which means we're going to have to type that in. And then we're going to position the shape at the bottom center of the page with a tight text wrapping. So that's quite a lot. You would be given the maximum amount of marks allotted to that type of task. So you would first go to the Insert tab to do that, and then you're going to find the shapes in the Shapes drop arrow, and then we're going to scroll down to the Stars and Banner menu here, and we're looking for the horizontal, the scroll horizontal shape. So that's this one. And from the question, it doesn't seem like we care about how big this is as long as it's positioned correctly and you type in the "thank you" message. So just start typing. If you have this selected, just start typing on your keyboard. You don't have to do anything special. Just type in "thank you" with an exclamation mark. If you get a task like this where you have to type in something, just type whatever is between the quotation marks, even if it's something like this where it's an exclamation mark. And now the first thing we'll do is position this where the task is asking us to. So with this highlighted, I'll click on the position drop arrow, and then I'm going to choose the more layout options. And then for the vertical alignment, I'm going to change that by clicking this little checkbox here, and then I'm going to choose the bottom of the page. So it might be on margin. You have to change that to page. And then for the horizontal alignment, I'm going to change that to the centered option, and then of the page. And that's how you would complete a task like this when it comes to positioning. Now you can also click the text wrapping tab here and then choose the tight text wrap. Okay, so now we press OK, and here's what our shape looks like at the bottom center of the page. So we'll get started on project 3. The first task is going to ask you to replace all instances of Environmental School Project with ESP. And to do that, you go to the Find command or the Replace button in the Home tab. So I'll click there, and then I'm going to type in the Environmental School Project in the Find What bar. So Find What, the Environmental School Project, and then we're going to replace it with ESP. And then I'll make sure that I click Replace All, and then it says 13 replacements. I'll click OK, and that's how we complete a task like task 1. Task 2 is going to ask us to go to the How Can VIP Kids section, and then we're going to continue the numbering of the list so that the list numbers 1 and 2 in this section change to 4 and 5. So you're going to get tasks like this on your exam where it's going to ask you to locate a section. It's not going to tell you where it is in the document. So for you to do that, you have to be able to click the Find button here like we did in the last task, but instead of replacing, just look for a place in the document. So when we say Find and we type up this navigation bar here, we'll start typing How Can VIP Kids, and this will take us right to the area in our document we need to go, and then we'll just exit this. So you're gonna have to do that a few times on your exam. So again, that's just in the Find button, and then just start typing the area or the section that you're supposed to go to, and it'll take you right there. So now we can start with this task. From this section, now we can continue the numbering or continue the list from the number 3. So you want this number 1 to change to 4 and this one to change to 5 to continue the numbering from a previous section. So to do that, I'll click on the first number, and then I will right click on that. And yes, you can right click. I've had questions about that. Are you allowed to right click you can, and it's easier and it's a faster way to complete a task like this. So right click, continue numbering, and when I do that now, these settings change to 4 and 5, and that's how you would complete a task like task 2. Task 3 is going to ask us to go to the Learning Theories and Skills Learned section and then resolve the comments. So just like before, we'll look for that section by pressing Find, and then in the navigation bar just type in Learning Theories, and this is our Learning Theories and Skills Learned section. Then I can put the insertion point on the page and just exit this navigation bar, and then I have to kind of turn on comments by going to the Review tab and saying Show Comments. So I want the comments to pop up, and you can see to the right there's a little like comment section. We can just click there. Once I'll just minimize so you can see it. I'll click there and then just say so that's the comment, and then click Resolve to resolve it. And that's how you complete a task like task 3. So task 4 is going to make us look for the paragraph that starts with these 2 case studies, and then we're going to add a bookmark at the beginning of that paragraph called Conclusion. So again, get in the practice of locating things in a document really quickly without having to kind of manually search for them. So you type these 2 case studies in the navigation bar, and then put your insertion point right here, and then we can exit this navigation bar here. And with the insertion point there, we can go to the Insert tab, and then I'm going to click on the bookmark icon, and we have to call this bookmark Conclusion, and then add it. And now if we were to, if this was a really long document, we could get to this section just by clicking on our bookmarks and then click Go to the Conclusion bookmark. Task 5 is going to ask us to go to the space under the last paragraph in this document, and then we're going to insert a new table that has 3 columns and 6 rows. And in the middle column, on the top row, we're going to type advantages, and on the cell on the top on the right, we're going to type disadvantages, and then we're going to fit the table to its contents. So if you've ever used Excel, that's like using the AutoFit command. But we're going to create this table from the Insert tab. So I'll put my insertion point here at the bottom of the page, and then go to the Table drop arrow in the Insert tab, and then I can actually draw the table from here. But if you want to make sure that you've got the right column settings, I like to go to here, the Insert Table dialog box, and then I can just type in the numbers that I need. So the number of columns is 3, and there are 6 rows. And then also from here, the last part of this says fit the table to its contents. So we'll just do that from this window here by clicking Auto Fit to Contents. And then when I type in disadvantages, the table will expand to include that text, which is nice. So I'll press OK, and then I'll click Advantages here, and then press Tab, and then in the top right cell, I'll type in disadvantages. Okay, and there's our table. That's all we need to do to complete a task like task 5. So task 6 is going to ask us to apply the stylish lines style set to the entire document. So just like in our last project, you're going to go to the top of the document, the very beginning of it, and then press Control-A on your keyboard to select the whole document. And then this one is a little bit tricky because it says apply the line style set, which can be confused by the style gallery here. So you're never going to find this in the styles gallery. That's something different. The style sets are in the design tab. So not the styles gallery in the home tab, it's the style sets or document formatting gallery here. So a style set is in here, and if you're asked for some type of black and white style set, that's over here. There's different variants to that. There's the classic one, there's the numbered one, but the ones we're asked for, the lines one, are on the right side of this gallery. So lines distinctive, line simple, and I think this is the line stylish right here. So that's the one we need. So again, the lines types are over here, the black and white types are over here, and just make sure we get line stylish, and then just apply that to the whole document now that I've highlighted the whole document. And keep that in mind. There's a difference between a style set and a style. Task 7, on the other hand, is going to make us apply a style to the first row of the table that we created, and it's the subtle emphasis style. So we're going to highlight the first row of the text, just in case we add text in this left column later. We'll highlight the whole row, and then from the Home tab, we'll open the Styles gallery, and then we're going to try to navigate to the Subtle Emphasis style. We'll click on that, and you can see that the text changed to the style of the Subtle Emphasis style. Now we're on to our final project, project 4, and task 1 is going to have us search for the sentence or part of a sentence that starts with "and I was very proud," and then we're going to add a continuous section break at the end of that sentence. So to find that sentence, we have to go to the find command again, and in the navigation bar, we're just going to type in part of that sentence, so proud, and then I'm going to put the insertion point at the end of that sentence, and then just exit this navigation bar, and then alright, so I'll put our insertion point there, and then in the Layout tab, there's the breaks drop arrow. That's how we would add a continuous section break, and this is going to set us up for the next task. So we have to set up this continuous break properly. So I'm going to click the breaks drop arrow and then choose the continuous one under the section break section, and that's going to allow us to proceed with task 2. For task 2, we're going to locate the biggest event section, and then we're going to convert the 2 paragraphs to 3 columns. So the 2 paragraphs here, we want this in 3 columns, but we only want it for this section. We don't want it for the whole document. So that's why I had you create a continuous section break in the last task, and there's also one that was already there. So if you ever want to do this for your own documents, you have to section this section off with a continuous break on either side. So that'll allow us to change these 2 paragraphs to 3 columns, and without doing that for the rest of the document. So for this, I will highlight this whole section, or these 2 paragraphs, right to the end of them, and then I can go to the Layout tab again, and then choose the column drop arrow, and then I can put in 3 columns. So I can choose 3. You might also have to add some more elements like this, where you do 3 columns here, and then add a line between, but that's not what the instructions are asking us, so we'll just keep it to 3 columns and press OK, and that's what that would look like. Task 3 is going to ask us to locate the document header, and then we're going to apply the Fill Aqua Accent 1 shadow text effect to that text. So I've got the document header right here, and I'm going to double click on it and then highlight it, and then within this header and footer menu, I'm going to go back to the Home tab. This is really just asking us for word art. So without saying it, this is word art or text effects and typography, and that's in the Home tab. And I'm going to click the drop arrow there, and I'm going to look for an aqua fill. So I'm going to look for aqua fill. This one looks like an aqua fill, accent color 1 shadow, and that's the one we want. So I'll click on that, and that's how you would complete a task like task 3. So task 4 is going to ask us to change the bullet points to custom ones. We're going to use a coffee symbol instead of the check marks for these bullet points, and we're going to find this symbol in the, I don't know how to pronounce this, but this type of font, and with the character code 2615. So I'm going to highlight my points here, and then in the bullet drop arrow, I'm going to choose that and then say define new bullet. So I'm going to click on that, click on symbol, and then I'm going to look for I'll start typing in Segoe, and we want the emoticon one, UI emoji, and then the character code is 2615. And that'll bring us this coffee symbol, and then we'll press OK, and we'll press OK here, and now this changes to a coffee symbol instead of the check marks that we previously had. So in task 5, we're going to look for the first paragraph after the introduction heading, and we're going to insert a footnote after the word, before the word metal, and it's going to read, "The metal was a special kind made from the wing of an airplane." So to do that, we're going to have to locate where that word is in this document. So I'm going to click the find and then just type in metal, and then see where it is. Okay, so that's where I want to put our insertion point, is right before the word metal, and then I'll exit this navigation bar, And from here we want to insert a footnote. So I'm going to go over to the References tab, click on that, and click on Insert Footnote. And from here we want to type in, or you can copy and paste. See, what I would do is copy this text from your instructions, and you can totally do that on your exam. It'll save you time if there's a long sentence like this, and put it right in the footnote. I'll just do a normal paste. Probably just keep the merge formatting here. Okay, so the metal was a special kind of metal from the wing of an airplane. So it's just like it is here without the quotation marks, and that is how you would complete a task like task 5. Step 6 in this project is going to ask us to accept all insertions and deletions and reject all formatting changes. So a quick way to do that is go to the Review tab, so I'll click on that, and then in the Tracking group I'm going to choose the Reviewing pane. Now it doesn't matter whether you review the pane in vertical view or horizontal. I'll choose vertical, just easy. This dialog box comes up, and I'm just gonna, it says reject all formatting. So this is a formatting change that was made. I'm gonna right click on it, and I'm going to reject the formatting change. I'm going to accept these next two. So I'm going to right click on this insertion, and then I'm gonna say accept insertion. And then on this last one, I'm going to accept the deletion as well. And then I would just exit, and that's how you would complete a task like task 6.